What we're doing right now is we're replacing a trolling motor with another trolling motor. Taking a motor guide off, putting a Minn Kota on. So we have to take everything off that he had already set on it and to put this one on. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're doing right now. You got to take the plate off so that you can get the grommets that are behind this trolling motor, and there's 4 bolts, or usually 4, it might be 6, that hold this trolling motor on. So we got to be able to reach underneath there to grab a hold of it. Plus he's got some other stuff that we got to take off. He's going to put spotlight scan and some of that kind of stuff on the new trolling motor, so we got to take off the transducer, do some of that, but that's an easy job. But you got to be able to have access to these underneath, and these are nuts on here, so this will be easy to do. We're probably going to have a 7/16 inch wrench, and we get the drill driver on top, and we should be able to pull them right off of there, so it should be easy. And this just gives us access to the front panel. Okay, what you've got now is we're going to set the bracket on, and that means you got to pull the bracket up so we can see if the holes match up from the other trolling motor. If they don't, it's not a big issue, because then all we have to do is to drill new holes and run the bolts down through it. And there's hardware that comes with the trolling motor. We want to make sure we set it right so it doesn't catch on docks and that kind of stuff, so we'll have to do that. But if we can get the holes to match up, it's a home run. So that's what we're trying to do right now, and basically what you've got with the Fortrex, it should be a little bit, there might be a couple holes that'll match up, but we may have to re-drill some new ones. What we're doing right now is we found one hole that matches. There's one hole out of all the holes we had, and the other one matches. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold this one down, and we're going to have to re-drill holes. Now the nice thing is that we've got 2, 2, and 2. That's all we're going to have to do. And we're going to try to use the same bolts we had, so they had nylocks on them, or we'll use the new hardware that we've got. One important thing, if you're going to do this at home, is when you deploy this, you have to make sure it's past the end of the boat. Because if you don't, then your trolling motor will be sitting on an angle, and that won't work. So what you want to do is, you see that this sticks over the end, you know your trolling motor is going to do that as well, so it's going to set right here. It's going to be perfect. And we also want to make sure on the back of the trolling motor that it doesn't stick out too far on the side of the boat. And the main reason for that is, you come up to a dock or whatever, you don't want your trolling motor catching on a dock post or anything like that. So that's why we're doing it that way. This is set up really nice. It matches really well. It's got a, you know, when you look at it, it should be pretty good, sitting right there square. Got a pretty much square profile to the side of the boat, so it should be in good shape. We're now going to put the trolling motor on, just make sure it deploys right. It should, because this nose cone sticks off the end of the boat. We're going to look at it, and what we have to do then is adjust how far back it sets so that it will get clearance and it won't be outside of the boat. So that's what we're looking at right now. what you've got is you got to make sure that you've got clearance over the end of your boat. You don't want the shaft to hit the boat. You don't want to have it be cockeyed. You don't want any of that stuff. So you always have to have the nose part of this boat, you want it sticking over the side. Now what we've got is we've only got one screw in it, so we want to make careful. I got a hold of it, Jason. And you should be just fine right there.
I don't want it to latch.
No. So we're fine. We're right here where we got it with that one screw. We're in good shape. We just got to drill the rest of these screws, take the trolling motor back off again. What you've got is you got to make sure that you drill the holes appropriately. And what that means is you don't want them on a bind. You don't want to do any of that stuff. So we put one screw in, tighten the nut up just snug so it could hold it in place. Then what you got to do is you got to come back and make sure we drill these holes appropriately, and that means you got to drill them straight. Securing the bracket to the deck is one of the most important things. In particular, Jason lives at Kentucky Lake, so he hits a lot of rough water, really beats things to death. You really have to make sure these are secure. One of the things that we did, Walker was able to hold in place with a 7/16 inch wrench, the nylocks. Nylocks are important because they don't come unthreaded real easy, so that was really important to do. We got nylocks on 6 different places in the trolling motor, so this is a good secure mount. Should be excellent. The next step is putting the trolling motor on. When we do that, then we also have to put lift assist on, which is not a big deal either, but we have to put it on so it makes it easier to raise and lower your trolling motor. Pistons installed, which is usually the toughest job because you have to put two bushings on each side of it so it sets centered. It has to be centered so that it does its job of being a lift assist. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the head on the trolling motor, and if you notice there's just one screw at the top of it that you use an Allen screw up for, and that's what holds your trolling motor on. There's brackets that position it. You'll be able to see one there and one there that position that trolling motor so it locks in place. It's a really good engineering piece of machinery here, and really a light trolling motor, and comes up and down real well. Basically now we've got a hardwired block, which is really cool. Part of this is that a lot of trolling motors on other boats will have just a plug-in, but problem with that is you can lose connectivity a lot of times, and the reason for that is that it'll get condensation in it, it'll get corrosion in it. The beauty about this one is that you don't have that as an issue because you're able to hardwire, which means it's going to go wire to wire in the bracket. So it's a pretty cool deal, and really the best way to do it, I think. Finished up, tested it, works perfectly. Now we've got some final stages. They're just cleanup stages. Basically, we're going to put screws back in the dash. We're going to put the foot pedal down. We're going to screw it to the deck. Of course, those screw holes won't match, so we're going to have to probably drill those. But what we'll have is we'll have this thing all put back together again in a matter of minutes, and that means I have a working trolling motor, and we did it in about an hour. So don't be afraid to try it, and do everything you can to get the right instructions, read the instructions. We got a wave buster we got to put on, but we got to cut it. So we'll get that done at a later date probably, but we're going to make sure that we have everything ready to go before we walk away from here.
Check us out at wired2fish.com.